Hello, hello, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, welcome to the Victory Village. You guys, we're talking about Tim Norman. Shawanda, hello. Thank you for being in the chat. You are the first one here. Thank you so much. Thanks for posting. Um, you guys, this is crazy. This is going to be crazy because I promise you Tim has tried everything in his power the last few weeks to stall this trial, to stall the progress, to get his phone records to not be submitted. Hello, Erica. First time here. Welcome to the Victory Village. He has tried everything in his power. I mean, he has jumped through hoops to get this extended, and finally, the judges have said, September, you're going to trial. And actually, the trial was set before Travell confessed. So you had the trial set, and then Travell confessed, and you know it was an eye opener. It was a shocker. It was like, wow. Hey sis, what's going on? Hello, Queen. Yes, it was an eye opener, you guys. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna get into it. This is it's coming to a head. After all these years, the family is finally gonna get justice. Now, going back to Tarika Ellis, when all of this first started, Tarika Ellis was the one that set the ball rolling. If you guys remember, Tarika, she pretty much said, yes, Tim, paid me and I got two installments. She put some of the money in, the bank and she kept some of it. Hey, Latanya. Um, yeah, they're about to start telling on each other, and Terica, she set it off. She set it off, and hey, Deborah, she did not mince words. She was very honest. She said that she was paid a service. Do I believe Terica when Terica Ellis said, I didn't think that Tim was going to have Andre Montgomery offed? No. She said she thought that Tim's boys was going to get up on him, meaning beat him up and all of the things because of the robbery. And it just, when you look at all the evidence, when Andre was going to cooperate with the police, Tim got antsy and he said, you know, Mom can't find out about the robbery. So he pushed the date up of when he was going to have this happen because he didn't want Andre talking to the police. That's just what it looks like. Now, the FBI have gathered all of the information, and according to the records on Pacer, they have enough evidence for a conviction. So, regardless of what Tim says, he's not getting out anytime soon. So, we don't have anything to worry about on that. There are four counts. He is going to be tried on all four counts. So is YL. Travell is a different story because he's already confessed. So with Terica talking and Travell talking and the confession, I can't see a way out for Tim Norman. Now, Travell said on the phone in jail, ladies and gentlemen, to his brother that Tim paid him $5,000. Those phone conversations are recorded. and they will be submitted into evidence in court according to the documents. So, this is what we've got to go on. After listening to those phone conversations and having a conversation with Travell Hill, Travell went ahead and confessed because they already had him cornered. I don't know if Travell is a little slow or like I'm not understanding because it, you know what I'm saying? Anybody knows you cannot have an incriminating conversation on the phone while you're in jail awaiting trial. It doesn't make sense. And then on top of that, you were, excuse me, only paid $5,000. And this came from Travell. He's the one that confessed. He's the one that said it. He said it to his brother on the phone in jail. You guys will hear that during testimony during the trial in September. Now, Yael is quiet. I'm sure he has his own team of attorneys. He's not talking about anything. He's not been in the media. Um, it's very, hush hush for him. But there's wire fraud, there is identity fraud, and someone asked me yesterday on YouTube about the insurance policy. There was a policy for Andre, and there was a policy for Tim's mom. And they have both copies that have been submitted into evidence. So this is going to be, submitted. They're going to talk about the robbery. They're going to talk about the timeline between when Tim put this in motion and when, Andre was lured out of the house and that happened to him. They're going to go through all of this, and this is something that when they said that it couldn't be a speedy trial because it was technical and they had a lot of evidence to get. Remember, and I don't know if you guys remember this, but I told you this earlier last year, that there are a list of people that the FBI have gathered together to testify. What they're going to say, we don't know. But they have people that are going to testify. Hi, Fly. They're going to testify against Tim. They're going to testify what they know. There are character witnesses. There are people that are going to talk about incidences in the restaurant. They are bringing stuff up from, way back when they were on Sweetie Pies. And this is all happening. Even the people that he's assaulted in the past, they have contacted everybody, you guys. So this is not, they're not taking anything lightly. They're not leaving any stones unturned. Like, this trial is going to be thorough. It's probably going to be long. And because they already have one confession, I'm sure between now and September they're going to still be working, you know, on Tarika, even though she made her statement. It just doesn't fly right that she says she didn't know what was going to happen. Now, the weird part is Tarika got paid more than Travell, if you remember that. Because Tarika got paid 10,000. The shooter only got paid 5,000. So, don't you think that that's a little strange that Tim would pay Tarika Ellis $10,000 to lure Andre out so that he could be shot, but you only pay the shooter $5,000? That's a little weird. No, I don't think he's going to get off scot free, and I think that there is something mentally ill, not just with Travell, but with Tim. With Terica, I feel like it was, money, and I've got kids and I need this money, and, nobody's going to know. And Tim is very convincing. Tim, is a smooth talker. He has convinced these people that you're not going to get caught. This is, clad iron, and he thought that he was never going to be pinpointed for this because he wasn't in the area at the time. So, this is one of those cases where, we've got to have all of our ducks in a row so that Tim can't weasel his way out of this. With all of the evidence pointing at Tim being the mastermind and he put all of this stuff, I kind of feel like the testimony is going to end and hang on YL and what YL has to say um, about the text messages and about the phone conversations between he and Tim. And also, it's going to hang upon those phone conversations that were in Tim's phone that the FBI has said are incriminating. He was talking to people that, he had hired to plot against Andre on the phone after the fact. So why would you be talking to these people, and now that they have your voice on tape, you know, it depends on what we're going to hear in court that was on that phone. Let's go to the comments. Queen says, I do believe that Tim set the robbery up to frame Andre, which ultimately led to his demise. I agree. I think that Tim did have that. He had that robbery. Now, the first robbery, I think it was just a fluke or whatever. But the robbery that Robbie was talking about, nothing important was taken. My house was just ramshacked. That particular robbery, I do believe that Tim had something to do with it. I think that he set it in motion. Sharon says, God bless you and good evening. Hi, Sharon. Uh, One, he's not charged with attempted M. Like the rest, he's just as guilty. I feel the same way. Fly says that you got to have a cold heart to pull a stunt he pulled. I don't think Tim has any feelings at all. If you guys remember back during the reunion of Sweetie Pies, and they talked about being in the old neighborhood where Andre lost his life, and Tim's face was just stone cold, and he, converted to putting on an act, like it was a total act once the cameras were on him, and he just, it was like, not even a tear. Hello, Joyce. I wonder who the person is involved with Tim. Right now, we've got Tarika Ellis, we've got YL, and we have Travell Hill, who has confessed to being the shooter. He confessed to Tim paying him $5,000 to shoot Andre Montgomery. So right now, these are the people that Tim hired to do his bidding. And so, if there's anybody else involved, the FBI will bring that up during the trial. As far as the paperwork goes on Pacer, there hasn't been anybody else implemented. There hasn't been anybody else, on the phone conversations. Hasn't been anybody else in jail that he was talking to. Hasn't been anybody else. Kind of shady or whatever that has come to visit him. Um, One of the things that doesn't look good for Tim Norman is the fact that he had so many teams of attorneys. Either he fired them or they walked away. It does not look good because he's not worked with the same team of attorneys since the beginning. And so, because every time he brought in a new team of attorneys, he would ask for an extension of time so they could get familiar with the case. So he did this three times, which completely doesn't look good because, it kind of looks like, well, this team of attorneys isn't doing what I want them to do, or they can't do what I want them to do, so they're fired, and we're going to get somebody else. Someone asked me on YouTube, Who's paying for all of this? It was a private sector at first. We don't know if it's Miss Robbie or not, but Miss Robbie did say that she was supporting her son until he is proven guilty. Um, by the way, if you guys did not know, Miss Robbie is still making music. Her latest song, I did talk about this on my podcast if you caught that. But her latest song is called I'm Thinking About Cheating, and it is up on her YouTube channel if you want to take a listen to that. Queen says Tim seems to have a psychopath tendency, in my opinion. I think he does. I think I don't know what's wrong with Tim. He's not a very smart career criminal, I can tell you that. From all of the time that Tim Norman has been caught, and I'm talking about, from the time that he was, 17 years of age, he has been caught doing some of the craziest things. And I don't know if Tim ever did a criminal act and he didn't get caught. So I'm not quite sure with his track record how he thought this was going to turn out. Now, I do believe this. I think that after a year or two, Tim probably thought that he had gotten away scot free. Had the evidence of the phone and other things not been found near the dumpster and near the crime scene, and turned into evidence, they probably would have gotten away with it, and we wouldn't be sitting here awaiting the trial for September 6th. So it was just, a little kid had to lose his life, and people were in the act of getting evidence to try to find out who did this to this, to this baby, and that evidence was probably turned in for that child, and it ended up being, an open door for the Tim Norman case. Sharon, hi Sharon. Uh, don't you know rats jump ship when it starts to sink? Now that's Travell. Miss Tarika is next. Yes, there is an unidentified woman on Tim's phone he's talking to. Now the unidentified woman is said to be someone that he was dating, someone that he was going with. That could be his current girlfriend. I'm not sure if they're still together, but that his son's mother, the baby, the really cute chunky baby that we saw on Instagram. It could have been her. I am certain that it was not his ex. I'm certain of that. Um, but it is speculated that that was the young lady that he was talking to on the phone. We are not sure because the names were hidden in the statements, in the documents. So we know that he was talking to people on the phone, but we just don't know who it was because they did hide the names to protect everybody who has to testify. Some people have been subpoenaed, of course, and then some people, freely want to be a part of this. So Tim can, can get locked up and Andre can get justice, his family can get justice. So this is what's going on in the Tim Norman case, and it's a sad situation, and I hate that Andre's family is having to relive this all over again. I can't imagine what privately Miss Robbie is going through. Um, because Tim has been locked up since he was arrested, and going from locked up in jail to going to prison after spending 10 years. She's really not been able to spend a lot of time with Tim because he's constantly in jail or in prison. So a lot of people, it's like, you know him, but you don't know him. Some of us have relatives like that. I know I do. They just are addicted to jail. Like for some reason, they just can't stay out of jail. They keep doing things, and it's almost like they don't mind. They don't mind that lifestyle, of going back to jail. And once again, with all the evidence that's stacked up against him, it looks like that he's going to be going back to prison from what we can see. Um, and somebody made a comment like this the last time I did the video of we're talking about setting the date for Tim's trial in September. Um, you know, it's you have to be cunning. And if you want to set something in motion like this, you know, you have to have a certain, mindset. You have to think a certain type of way. You have to think like a criminal that is successful. And we've seen from watching shows way back in the day, like Oprah Winfrey, and way back in the day Phil Donahue, and remember Sally Jesse Raphael. They used to have these criminals that were successful criminals, and they had television shows and they wrote books about how they got away with so much. And they were telling the secrets of how they got away with all of this, and they never ever got caught. And this is not something that Tim has been successful in. Every time, whether he initiated the crime or not, he always ended up in jail or prison. Now, I don't know what he was thinking. Could he have been thinking, hey, we're going to get away with this? There's no way we can get caught. That is ridiculous. That's ridiculous. And I'm still wondering about Travell and his mental state, and how you could accept $5,000 for taking someone's life. What did Tim have to say to Travell? Like, I mean, like, you know what I'm saying? Because Travell was in one of Tim's, videos. So Travell, I'm assuming was Tim's homeboy. This was Tim Norman's homeboy. He's been in my videos. We've known each other for a while, and all of this stuff. So I know I can get Travell to do this. Travell, he's going to be down for this because he's got my back, type of thing. But what is your reasoning for telling Travell Hill that this has to happen? What is your reasoning for saying this has to take place? I want you to be the shooter and take Andre Montgomery out, because why? I mean, you really don't have a reason for wanting to take this young man's life. To be absolutely honest, you don't have a reason for that. There's absolutely no reason. In your mind, your reason is greed. But, for the family, for his mother, for Miss Robbie, for everybody else that was in his life, for him, for Andre, there's no reason. There was no reason this had to happen. And so you took this young man's life right in his prime, and he's 21, just now legal, having the time of his life in the studio making his music, figuring out what he's going to do with the rest of his life. And as soon as he says, I am going to cooperate with the police, and he was honest with the police. Andre said, I have been smoking weed, I was partying, and I'm not clear headed, so I can take a lie detector test and tell you about the robbery and tell you about everything, but I don't know how clear headed I'm going to be. I'm just being honest. And the police was, set a date and said, let's meet up, at this particular time. Are you open to that? And Andre says yes. And Tim gets nervous. And he's like, this can't happen. Andre knew some things, in my opinion. This is just my opinion. I feel like Andre knew some things that we didn't know. Not just his speculation about the robbery, but some other things in Tim's past that Tim didn't want, let out. It was going to cause a problem for Tim. So, in Tim's mind, there were several reasons why I need to get out of debt. Okay? I've made a mess with my mom's businesses. I opened businesses, the businesses didn't work, and I still owe people money. So I've got to have some money to get out of debt. I don't want Andre talking to the police. He knows some stuff. He could make matters worse for me. And why does Andre, get to have a piece of the pie? Why does he get to have a piece of the empire anyway? Now, if you look back to the text messages with Tim Norman and YL, and Tim was telling YL, Andre's not going to be around much longer. He's not going to be here much longer. And YL was saying, "Oh wow." Like he wasn't saying, you know what I mean? He wasn't like the thing that really got me was that Tim Norman lied to YL and told YL that Andre Montgomery's father was in the room with him while he was texting and on the phone. YL said, "Call me." Tim said, "I can't. There are some suits sitting in here with me. So I can't talk. But we could just do this, over the phone." Now, that lets me know that YL doesn't know a whole lot about Tim's family. Because if you knew him, you would know that Andre's father is deceased. This is Tim's brother. Tim, how is your brother sitting next to you in the same room and he's deceased? How is Andre sitting in the same room with you while you're trying to set up this insurance policy and he's not even in the same city or state as you? How is that even possible? So that's going to be a one up for YL because YL was lied to. But instead of treating Tim like your average customer of insurance and saying, "Listen, I can't do any of this without the proper signatures. I can't do any of this." But he knew Tim. Him and Tim had worked together in the studio making music because YL is a producer. You understand what I'm saying? Do you see how all this is like twisted up? And Tim's manipulation led these people to believe that this was open and shut. This was ironclad. Nobody's going to get caught. And the way that you can manipulate somebody, and YL knew that he could get in trouble with his insurance company for fraud, because that's really what it is. But you're lying to YL and you're telling YL that your brother and your nephew are in the same room and we all are in agreement now, which leads me to believe there had to be a signature on the insurance policy. So, did you forge your deceased brother's signature on the policy? Andre didn't sign the policy. Your brother's deceased, so he couldn't sign the policy. The policy. The same thing with Robbie Montgomery. Um, the insurance policy. Someone had to sign it. Now, it's going to come out in court whether these policies were signed or not because they do have the documents. And if they were signed, someone had to forge the signatures. So, of course, they're going to ask Tim, were you the one that forged the signatures on the insurance policies? But the policies are there. The policies are in effect. They still remain. They have been submitted into evidence. So this is something else that is completely against Tim. Why would you take insurance policies out on two people that you're not responsible for? Miss Robbie is totally 100% capable of taking care of herself. And for me, for Miss Robbie to kind of like overlook that, I would be asking my son, I would be asking Tim, "Excuse me, but why would you take an insurance policy of that size out on me without talking to me about it?" Because you can take insurance out on anybody, but you've got to have some signatures. I mean, I can call the insurance guy over here right now and take some insurance out, on anybody I want to, but they're going to have to be some signatures. Queen says, "I agree with your assessment regarding Andre knowing too much, and that also prompted him to start his vicious plan to remove his nephew." Exactly, because they're family. And, families talk amongst each other. So, we know. We know. We know that Andre knew some stuff, about Tim, and Tim didn't want people to know or whatever. And, Tim was probably thinking, he's going to bring up some stuff that he has no business talking about, and I just can't let that happen. Hey, D. Only 11 and 44 in the chat. Just a friendly reminder for the queen. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Going back to Tim's criminal history, ladies and gentlemen, we understand that he knocked over um, some gas stations, Fix It Shop, a McDonald's. He was also implemented in a kidnapping that was a robbery slash kidnapping. And he did some other things that got him arrested during the taping of Sweetie Pies. Before that, he spent a 10-year stint in prison for his actions, for his, criminal activity. And after he got out, and during the time he was dating, Jennifer, and he was said to be stalking her and wouldn't leave her alone, and all of this stuff. Well, he got off, pretty much scot free. Leave Jennifer alone. She wanted, a restraining order and all of this stuff. And Jennifer was upset because the trial didn't go the way that, she wanted it to. And, Tim felt, vindicated. Well, during all of this time, Tim was a public speaker and he was speaking to the youth about not going to jail and how to stay out of prison and cleaning your act up. It was kind of like his own intervention of Scared, Straight. So he was telling, the youth in the neighborhood, and he was traveling all over the place, all over the United States, as a matter of fact. People were booking Tim to come and publicly speak about his time in prison, why he went to prison, and also, can you give us some pointers and tips to our youth about how to stay out? And we saw a little bit of that on Sweetie Pies. But we also saw on Sweetie Pies Tim's temper. And we do know that Tim has an outrageous temper, especially against his family. Now, according to people in jail, Tim has been a model citizen. He has been a model, inmate. He's not really gotten into it with anybody. Okay, it was kind of rough for him when he first got transferred, and they wanted to keep Tim, hidden, and they wanted to keep him separate from everybody. But he's been getting along with everybody, just kind of like R. Kelly. R. Kelly has been singing in prison, and he's getting along with everybody. And here Tim Norman is being, the model inmate or whatever, and he's made friends in there, and he's getting along with people. And we have not had any incidences, according to his PACER report, of him having to go in solitary confinement or any of the things. So that lets me know that Tim does know how to act, and he's not just a hothead all the time. But if we look back to how Tim was with Andre, and how Tim was with Charles, and some of the people that worked in the kitchen, the assaults that he made. He actually was arrested for assaulting one of the men that was cooking in one of the restaurants for Miss Robbie. I mean, he does have a temper, he does have a hot head, but I'm wondering if it's just towards his family. The dreamer, hi. I know Janae is happy he's out of her life. Janae is happy and living her best life with her husband and Tim Jr. And they the last time I looked on Instagram, they seem to be very happy. Um, but going back to the phone calls, I don't believe that Janae was one of the people that Tim was talking to on his cell phone or in jail. I don't think so. My mind goes back to he could have been talking to you, Tarika Ellis. And the only way to find that out, be truthful, is for them to keep talking to Tarika and try to get as much information out of Tarika Ellis as they possibly can. And like I said, because Weil has been so quiet, I feel like his attorneys are instructing him not to say anything until the trial. So, he can't talk about, anything. He's not going to say anything to the police. And probably when Weil shows up, he probably shows up with his attorney. So, he's, mouth shut, not saying a word. Um, unless he absolutely has to. So, like I said, but he, at the beginning of this, he had his own attorneys, and to this day, nothing has changed in his records. Nothing has changed. YL still has his team of attorneys. Tarika Ellis was appointed counsel, and Travell was appointed counsel. And Tim Norman is working with his new team of attorneys, and so they've been working with Tim for the last couple of months. So he's had the, this is it. He can't change attorneys right now, and anything change for his situation. Sharon, hi. There's not Tim's first rodeo in prison. He knows how to act. He knows how to cross the T's and dot the I's to get what he wants. Exactly. And I feel like Tim knows this. Tim knows that, I've got to be a model citizen. Maybe it'll take some time, off of my sentencing. Because at this point, that's what Tim is looking at. He's not looking at to go home. He's looking at how much time can I get cut off of my sentencing, because I don't want to be too old when I go home or whatever. And I feel like that his team of attorneys, you know, after changing attorneys so many times, Tim has got to come into the realization that, I've got too much evidence stacked up against me, and I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. I'm when I leave here, I'm not going home. I'm going back to prison, because of this stunt I pulled, and I just don't, want to spend the rest of my life in prison. And it is possible that he will get life. Now, remember, they've taken the death penalty off the table for everybody except Travell. We've not heard that for Travell. So I'm waiting to see in Travell's reports if that is a possibility, if they're going to take the death penalty off the table for Travell. We don't know that yet, and if I do find out that information, I will let you guys know. But so far, there hasn't been anything updated in Travell's paperwork except for his conviction. And his every word, I think it is sealed, that I couldn't open the document. Um, so the only thing we know for sure is that he confessed, and in his confession, he said, Tim paid me $5,000. And we know that because of the phone conversation he had with his brother while he was in jail. Hey, Phil. So that is the update, you guys. If you guys have any questions or anything, please put them in the chat. But that is the 411. That is what we've got here on the table for the Tim Norman case. It is set in stone. In September, we are going to witness the trial of Tim Norman for the case of Andre Montgomery, the dreamer. Tim is never going home again. He's getting life without parole. I kind of feel like that's where this is going. Now, dreamer, you do know that there's more than one count. So, upon these four counts that he's facing, he could get life for each count. We don't know that yet. See, Tim has to stand trial for each count. For everything that Tim did, everything that the FBI arrested him for, he has to stand trial for each one of those counts. So we don't know how much time he's going to get for each one of those, but it's looking like Tim isn't going home. His home is going to be, prison, and that's just it. So I really I hate it for his family. You guys continue to pray for Miss Robbie. I know you guys do not agree with her stance on this thing, but internally, as a mom, I feel sorry for her because I know she has to be going through a lot. And the more evidence that's unfolded, and now with Travell confessing, I'm sure she's got to be feeling, you know, down in the dumps. I would, if this was my son and he has spent 10 years of his life in prison and then he gets out and now he's back in jail again, awaiting trial to go back to prison, I would definitely be feeling some type of way. But she's masking it pretty well. She's still in the studio making music. Her latest song, I Feel Like Cheating, is on her YouTube channel. I don't know what that's about. But again, if you guys want to mosey on over to her YouTube channel and take a listen, at her latest song, it's there. So she's keeping busy. Miss Robbie is steadily producing music and singing and, all of the things. So maybe that's keeping her busy and she's just living her life until, the trial begins in September. Hey, Shar, my girl. Hey, yes, Feel Like Cheating is the name of the song. That is her latest hit. It hit YouTube a couple days, excuse me, y'all, a couple days ago. And so, yeah, the dreamer says true because of the severity of these counts. Tim will never walk the streets of St. Louis again. He won't walk the streets anywhere. You've got four counts against you, and all of this is pointing towards the demise of your nephew, and for absolutely nothing at all. Because, like I said, he doesn't have a feasible reason for wanting to take that boy's life. Phil says, to know that your son had your only grandson, um, that is mind blowing. It really is. It's got to be mind blowing. For I personally, if I was in Miss Robbie's shoes, I would be praying for Tim, but I don't think I could look at him, and be like, that's my son. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is my son. And, I mean, you love him, but at the same time, I just, I don't know. I just feel some type of way. You know what I'm saying? Those of us who are parents and we have had, our kids, um, we have our kids, right? They get in trouble and they do something, and we feel a ways about the trouble they got into, about what they did, but we still love the child and we chastise them and say, you can't be acting like this. You can't do this. You need to stay out of trouble. Your future is at stake for this. Was anybody saying this, to Tim growing up? Did Tim understand that your future is at stake? If you keep this up, you're gonna lose your freedom. You know what I'm saying? Shara says, I praise God the guy admitted, because y'all, this could have went way left. When he said, I confess, I wish I could have been a fly on the wall, y'all. I really do. When he sat in that interrogation room and said, I want to confess. I don't, and like I said, and when I say this, I am not trying to be funny at all. As a professional life coach, I can only imagine that Travell Hill has has something of a slower thinking process. He doesn't, he can't think things through. He's easily led astray. You know what I'm saying? Without, somebody trying to think I'm, saying something, hurtful or whatever. Um, in order to take $5,000 to be the shooter and not really, it was like, did you comprehend what Tim was asking you to do? You know what I mean? Because I don't care if you are my homeboy. My homegirl can call me right now and call me up and say, girl, I need you to do me a favor. What do you want, girl? I need you, to be the shooter. I need you to shoot somebody for me. Beg your pardon? What? You need me to do what now? At that particular point, we're no longer homegirls. Because you got some issues. No, 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 we're not doing that. I won't be a part of this. But Travell didn't say that. Travell said, I'm gonna stick by my boy. And now he's not gonna have freedom. because he stuck by Tim, his homeboy. Greed was Tim's reason to have Andre's life taken away. It's just not good enough. It's not a good enough reason. Not wanting the police to find out certain information is not good enough reason. Not wanting Miss Robbie or his family to know, whatever it was that Andre knew about him is not a good enough reason. Wanting all of that money to himself so that he could get out of debt is not a good enough reason. To take somebody's life, it's not a good enough reason. It's just not. Um, yeah, Shar, I do too. I hope that the trial is televised. I'm sure it will be. This is a high profile case. I mean, if Johnny Depp can get all of this time on television, you know, you know, and look, let's just be honest. We're black, so you already know this is going to be worldwide. This is going to be absolutely, blown up. So we know. We know it probably is going to be televised, and we're going to be able, to see this, you know, just to watch this, and to just be in awe of what's going on during this trial. Money is always a need, but I will never case someone for it nor harm a child or anyone for money. I agree, Shar. I totally agree. I mean, there's always a need for money. We live in the United States of America. This is our currency. But you've got to, hey Empress, how you doing, love? You've got to work. Now, and the reason that I say that, ladies and gentlemen, is because Tim is a part of an empire. We've looked at Miss Robbie's earnings. We've looked at um her net worth. We know what Miss Robbie is worth. Okay? We know this. She's worth millions. And you're telling me, Tim Norman, and you're working, with mom. You've got a restaurant in Mississippi that's in your name. This is your baby. You've got a piece of the pie. You've got everything that you could possibly want, and you've got a woman that has built an empire that you're studying under. And Tim is a good cook. Tim can cook. He has come up with different recipes. There's just no reason. And he had a piece of his fame. He had his 15 minutes, and I just, he actually, for a time, Tim was looked at as, a small celebrity. So what more could you want? He was on the Food Network. Sonny put him on, on the Food Network. We saw him barbecue with Bobby Flay. Do you guys remember that? Can you beat Bobby Flay? I mean, what more can you ask for? You had everything in the palm of your hand. You could not be this greedy. As Swan, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard was on court TV antenna all day long. Exactly. So you already know we're gonna see this. We're gonna be able to see this. It's gonna be on the internet, and even if they just do a Zoom or whatever, we'll be able to get in. We'll be able to get in. Hi, Annette. Tim really thought that he had the master plan. His moral reasoning skills did not develop because he spent too many youthful years in the demonic confines of prison. God convicted Travell. I don't know what convicted Travell, but praise the Lord. Thank you, Jesus, because we needed to know that. Listen, above anything else, because we're just spectators, Andre's mother needed to know that. She needed to know that. And whether, there's a trial or not, there's going to be a trial in September, but regardless, Andre's mother, and remember, we spoke to Andre's sister when this all first began, and she thanked us for, being so nice and covering, the story. And she needed to know this. They knew Tim was behind it some type of way, but they needed to know this. And I'm telling you, when he confessed, I guarantee you it was just a load off. It was like, thank you, Jesus. Because let's be real, nobody is going to confess to something like that if they really didn't do it. Now, you know what I'm saying? I could be wrong. And, Tim's minions or whatever could have got to Travell and convinced Travell to, do this, but I doubt it. I think that Travell, um, they probably made him some sort of deal, if you will. This is just me speculating. Travell, if you go ahead and confess, this will be your deal. This is going to be the best deal you're going to get. You're not going to get, if we go to trial and you take the stand, you're not going to get a better deal than this. You're implemented, you're already in jail. You know, you're not going anywhere. And so I feel like, you know, mm, sorry guys, I need some water. This could have been a thing. As Swan says that Tim is greedy and not satisfied for some reason. It was never enough for Tim. It was never enough for Tim. Shar said that he had it all, but greed got in the way. I totally agree. Um, it's just ridiculous. Fly says that I think Depp and Heard was a public stunt. You think so? I think that Johnny Depp got tired of Amber Heard's mouth, and he said, I'm going to put a stop to you once and for all. And he did, and he won the case. Kind of like Cardi B and Tasha K. Cardi B got tired of Tasha running her mouth, and Cardi B won the case. I think that, when it comes to defaming somebody's character, it's just like Miss Robbie. Miss Robbie got tired of Tim defaming, the name of Sweetie Pies, right? So she said, I'm going to sue you for $1 million. I know you don't have $1 million, but we're going to court. I'm going to sue you, because it's the principle of the thing. You're ruining my brand. And you keep opening all of these random, restaurants and pop up shops and stuff, and you're wasting money. You're taking money out of the company, which, you know, Tim thought Miss Robbie didn't know about. And all of the things that Miss Robbie knew about, she implemented each and every one of those things in that lawsuit just so that Tim understood she knew. The whole while, Tim was saying, I don't know what mom is talking about. She's just in her feelings and, she's just tripping. And, this is all, it's going to blow over, which it did. But Miss Robbie just wanted Tim to know, And look, Miss Robbie knows her son. Miss Robbie knows her son. So if you could do that, if you could, bring that lawsuit up against him, you already know what he's capable of. Embezzling money from the company, ruining the name of the restaurant, opening restaurants up behind her back and thinking that she didn't know all of this was going on. Restaurants failing and, not being able to recuperate. Now you're still in debt, even though these restaurants aren't open, you still have to pay the debt off. And all the while, all of these things have happened, and Miss Robbie is in Mississippi cooking at your restaurant right now while you are locked up once again, keeping your restaurant afloat. At her age, she's cooking in the restaurant. She wants to work on her music. She has to check on her home. She's always on an airplane, going somewhere, doing something for the sake of the business, for Tim, for the family, and trying to get a little bit of work in for herself, trying to live, her dream. For a son to put their only living parent through this kind of hell is absolutely absurd. When you go to jail, you take everybody that's attached to you with you. So as you sit in that prison, if your children want to get to know you, they're going to have to come to that prison. If your mother wants to visit you, she's going to have to come to that prison. If you're still in a relationship with that young lady that has your youngest son, she's going to have to come to that prison and bring the baby with her. Do you understand what I'm saying? This you have to think about all of this stuff. You can't just think about that it's fail proof. It's fail proof. We're not gonna get caught. We're not gonna get caught. But what if you do? What if you do get caught? Now you're sitting in a jail cell awaiting trial, trying to weasel your way out of this, trying to figure out a way that you can go home. And the bottom line is you're not going home. It's over. The FBI would have never opened this case back up if they thought they were going to lose. The FBI would never, ever open a case and they thought they had there was a possibility of them losing. The FBI put in the order and said, go pick Tim Norman up. He's at home right now. Go to his house and pick him up. They went to his apartment. They picked him up. They put him in jail. They transferred him from one jail to the other. And he's been sitting there. And from that jail, he is going to prison. And I'm sorry, you know, for his family, because I know y'all loved him and you want this not to be true. But there's been a confession. There's been a confession. And in actuality, the confession started with Tarika Ellis because she's the one that said, yeah, Tim did give me $10,000. And I had to lure Andre out of the studio for a pair of pants. A pair of pants, ladies and gentlemen. This is thank you, Fly. I love you so much. Say hi to your fiance. Um it just doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. And all of this for greed. All of this because you didn't want him to have what was rightfully his. And guess what, Tim? You've done all of this and you're not going to get anything. You went from having it all to now having nothing. So who's next in line? Charles. Charles is the only guy that is left in the family. She doesn't have, Miss Robbie doesn't have any daughters. She doesn't have any more children. Okay? So, the empire has to go to somebody. And it's looking like Charles is next in line, which is Miss Robbie's nephew. He's the only one left. There are no other men in the family left. So, Tim, you hated Charles. You thought Charles was a brat. You just couldn't stand Charles. And it looks like Charles is next in line. So there you go. Hi, Brandy. And that says Travell is afraid to return to the streets. He, you know, that is a good analogy. He may be afraid to turn, back to the streets. He may be afraid there may be something, that he can't do. Maybe he can't survive on his own, but he's not mentally all there. He's not mentally stable. For somebody to think that this is okay, it was just concerning to me. And I got to thinking after a while, because at first when we heard about Travell, we didn't know too much about him. But now, looking at all of this, I'm like, there's something wrong with Travell. Looking at him in the video, and you know how you could just look at somebody and just tell something is not quite right. Tim has a habit, if you will, of keeping certain types of people in his back pocket. Tim Norman has a habit of, kind of having people like you think that you're. we're cool and you're my friend and all of the things or whatever. And this is like, okay, I have Travell in my back pocket. He's been in my music video. He's my homeboy. They've probably done some things together. Went to the strip club together. Because everybody knows, Tarika worked at the strip club, so I'm pretty sure, they've done some things, whatever. And so this was easy for him to keep that boy in his back pocket. And now I need a shooter. I need somebody because my hands have to stay clean. I can't do it because I can't even be in the vicinity. If I do it, they're going to know. If I do it, I'm going to get caught. So I need my hands to be clean. So the slowest person I know, the dumbest person I know, the person that probably is going to ask the fewest questions is going to be Travell. So let me call Travell up and get him to do this. No, Brandy, Tim doesn't care about these people. I can't really imagine who Tim cares about other than himself. You're talking about a criminal who's a narcissist. And let me just let you know something right now. If you are a narcissist, ladies and gentlemen, you can't be a true criminal because you're too stuck on yourself. Tim Norman had to look good. He had to dress good. Everything had to be just so. He wanted to have that celebrity status. He wanted to walk many red carpets. He wanted to have the prettiest girl on his arm. Everything had to be the way he wanted it to be, period. Even in the restaurant. He would get so upset when his mother fired him. You guys remember that episode when he got fired from Sweetie Pies because he just wouldn't listen and everything had to be his way. And Miss Robbie had to remind him that, excuse me, but this is my business. You know what I'm saying? You work for me. Yeah, you have a piece of the pie, but you're not the boss. I'm still the boss. So you get out of here. You know what I'm saying? You got to get up out of here. You don't run anything unless I allow you to, you know. And it had to, she was trying to put him in a predicament where this is going to calm you down. And are you calmed down now? Do you understand what I'm telling you? Okay, now get back to work. So at the end of the day, Tim wanted something for him. And he wanted to be grand. He wanted to be the king. He wanted to be the face of Sweetie Pies. He wanted to be, you know what I mean? It was just weird. It was just weird because, it wasn't enough for you to stand by your mom's side and, be a help to her. Now you're a hindrance to her. This is a burden for a woman that age. Miss Robbie is not young. She's in her 80s and she's going through all of this mental distress and her heart is broken. Her heart is heavy still. The whole entire family, the Montgomerys and Andre's mother and that whole side are all reliving this. They're having to recant all of these steps. Can you imagine what's going to happen when the trial comes in September? It's going to be absolutely heartbreaking. Tim's crazy. Tim is absolutely nuts. Narcissists have the grandest mentality. They do. They do. I think Tim's still out of control because I believe that Tim doesn't believe that he's going to prison. Seriously. Wouldn't that be awesome if you had a mother that was worth millions and she was sitting on an empire? Because you have to remember, ladies and gentlemen, before Miss Robbie became, the queen of Sweetie Pies, she was still sitting on a fortune from singing with Tina Turner. Now, let's be real. Does Miss Robbie get royalties? Yes. We know this from the interview she had with Oprah Winfrey and talking to Tina Turner remotely. They're still getting royalties from this music. Their music is played on the radio, their music is played in movies, everywhere, even commercials. still to this day. They got royalties off of the movie. What's love got to do with it? So even if Miss Robbie didn't have sweetie pies, if she lived a modest life, she still wouldn't have to work. But she was like, I have to do something. Her lung collapsed. She couldn't sing anymore. She couldn't tour. I have to do something. So after some years, she said, I can cook, open up sweetie pies, and that compounded the money that she already had. Now, let's be clear. Miss Robbie is a very smart businesswoman at that. So, of course, she had some investments, not just sweetie pies. So, in order for her to be a millionaire in 2022, she had to, play around with some stocks and bonds or something. You know, we understand that she has properties, you know what I mean? I'm sure she has, CDs and different things. She's got a money guy as well. So, and Tim knows all of this, which is one of the reasons why he wanted to get in that safe. And I don't understand why he would have somebody rob Miss Robbie's house and you still can't get into the safe. You don't have the combination to the safe. That was dumb. That lets you know that Tim is not a mastermind. He's not a career criminal because the steps that he takes for all of this, it just doesn't make sense. Excuse me. It just doesn't make sense. Geraldine High, narcissists feel entitled, they lack empathy, they are reckless, and don't care about consequences. Exactly right. And I know Tim Norman doesn't care about consequences because look where he is. Brandy says, I notice kids with rich parents act like they're unhappy. I mean, he was, like I said before, Tim has been known to be a hothead. Um, and I don't know. Um, when they were on the show, they talked about Tim supposedly, he was supposedly on medication. He was supposed to be taking his medication or whatever. So I don't know if he had some sort of disorder or a chemical imbalance. Maybe he was going through depression. Maybe he's on the spectrum for bipolarism or something. I don't know. But whatever kind of medication he was supposed to, I take medication because people get on my darn nerves, and I need a nerve pill. I need a happy pill. So when I get up in the morning, that's the first thing I reach for because I know somebody's going to try me and I need my stuff. So I don't know if Tim was going through depression or what, but I'm sure that he was going through something having, spent 10 years in prison. I feel like, of course, you need something. And I know that he went to counseling because they do prepare you for life after prison. So we know that he had some counseling sessions. How he did in those counseling sessions, we'll never know. We don't know if Tim would tell the truth about that. But child, I know one thing: if you prescribe me a happy pill and you tell me that listen, you need something to calm you down because you liable to pop somebody in the face or something like that. I'm gonna need you to give me my happy pill. I'm fine with it. So, but I do remember them mentioning that in one of the seasons or whatever about Tim needing to take his medication, and I'm like, I almost want to say, does anybody remember if Tim had like high blood pressure or something? Because they would always tell Tim to calm down before you get your pressure up. Was that like, was it a joke or does he really have high blood pressure? Miss Robbie said he used to cook for Ike and Tina because the restaurants wouldn't serve them. Yeah, she used to cook. She used to cook for them, and she would be in there burning in the kitchen, honey, and everybody was eating. And remember, in the movie, what's love got to do with it? One of they had always had food, and there was always, one of the singers in the kitchen cooking, and that was Miss Robbie. That was some of the background singers didn't have, big roles or whatever, but that lady that was always whipping up the food, and they had plates of food passing it around. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I don't think he had counseling after he got out of prison. Well, he had counseling. I don't know how many sessions they get. Um, it's mandatory for them to do it. Now, my thing was when you get out of prison, when they let you out, Brandy, you need to continue. You need to get a personal counselor, a life coach, a psychiatrist, or something. you need to get you need to get somebody. I don't know what it's like being locked up. I don't know. I've never been to prison. I don't know what it's like being locked up, and I don't know what it's being like locked up for 10 years. In those little jail cells and having somebody tell you what to do 24 hours a day, where you can go, how you can do it, how you can dress. I don't know what that feels like. But what I do know is that it cannot be good for your mental state. And so because of this, you know what I'm saying? Like you've got to talk to somebody. You know, there's a lot of people that come out of prison with PTSD, just like people come out of the military. Um, and so it takes a toll on people. And some people are never right when they get out of prison. They're never right. There's always going to be, they're always, looking over their shoulder. I've noticed that some people, when they get out of prison, they don't trust anybody. So they're always looking over their shoulder. They don't trust, certain people. They'll only hang around certain people. They still have this, mentality that they're locked up. So they will go in the house and you won't see them until the next day. Some of them, don't leave the front yard, for a period of time. There are some of them that will smell their food, to make sure that it's safe or whatever. Or like when you invite them, like I have a cousin that he was in prison for like 20 something years, and he would never eat his food until everybody else started eating their food because, he wanted to make sure the food was okay. And it's like those habits, and they bring that stuff with them, out into the world. And now you're free and you don't know how to act. It's like I got some freedom, and once they snap into reality and they realize that they're free, and it's just a totally different thing. It's like, you know what I'm saying? And I just can't imagine what that's like. And so, yeah, I for one feel like Tim should have gotten counseling outside of, the prison walls. When he was free, somebody should have said, let's continue that. You know what I'm saying? Let's continue that because you need that help. So those are my thoughts. That's, how I feel about it. And for those of you who had came in, we talked about Tim Norman going to trial in September, and we went through a rundown of his criminal activity and his criminal record. We went over some of the documents in his pacer. We talked about Travell Hill and his confession, and the phone conversations that Travell Hill had while he was in jail, that led to his confession. And we talked a little bit about Tarika Ellis when she first set the ball rolling and started talking to prosecutors while she was arrested, when she first got arrested, when all of this first started. So, you guys, if you were just coming into the chat, go ahead and hit the replay. We did make some valid points, and you're always welcome to leave comments and all that. We're gonna get out of here. We've been on for an hour and 13 minutes, and I want to thank everybody for joining me for this conversation. Thank you to everybody in the chat that participated. I really appreciate you guys. If you have not subscribed, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. You will not be disappointed. Everybody, please be safe out there and use your hand sanitizer. I'm still wearing a mask, but make sure that you are being safe for you and your family. Make sure to always live on purpose, you guys. And I will talk to all of you in the next video. Good night, everybody. Thank you.